Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning. And here we are again on a Monday morning. It's been a beautiful weekend, hasn't it? The weather's been lovely. And I've actually surrounded myself this morning with spring flowers just to remind us that spring is on the way, brighter days are on the way, and it's actually the 1st of March today, so actually the darkest and dreariest days of the winter are behind us. Like November, December, January, February, those are the darkest days in the winter, and March means we are heading into spring, and that fits very well with our theme at the moment, doesn't it, about thinking about moving forward. We've had numerous themes this term, so we can remember TEAM, together everyone achieves more, and then we can also remember the theme from last half term, shine your light so brightly that you are showing others the way out of the darkness. And as we start this new theme for this half term, let's just remind ourselves what that is. Learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. Once you choose hope, anything is possible. And I want to frame our assembly today around that theme, but around thinking about how those three phases of our lives, yesterday, the past, today, the present, and tomorrow, the future, how they're all actually interconnected. They're not separate parts at all, past, present and future. They're actually all connected together and very much determined by the present. When we think about today, the way we are living our lives today will very much be influenced by the past. So none of us were born able to walk. None of us were born able to talk. The fact that we are talking today in English, the fact that I'm talking in English to you and you are understanding that and you can appreciate the English language is very much based on the fact that you were brought up and your past was based in England. And you are surrounded by people speaking English. If you had been born somewhere else, you've been born in France or born in Russia or born in Italy, the chances are today for you would look very different. You'd be speaking a different language because you would have been brought up learning a different language, and you would have been exposed to that different language. You would have been surrounded by that language for all of your life, and therefore your today would have been very much influenced by your past. And we have some children in school who can actually speak two languages because they're in their past. They've been brought up listening to and been surrounded by Polish and English or Urdu and English. So we have children who can speak two languages because of their past. And actually tomorrow will be very much influenced again by today. Just think about what I'm about to say and really think about these words. Yesterday, today was called tomorrow. Just think about that again. So when it was yesterday, when we thought about today, we called it tomorrow. So yesterday and tomorrow are all linked by today. Today is the day that we now call today, but yesterday we called it tomorrow. Does that make sense? So actually the future is not that far away really, is it? When we think about the future and we think about things that are going to happen in the future, actually the future is not that far away, and in fact the next hour is the future. The next 24 hours is the future. In fact, the next second from now is in the future. Anything that hasn't happened yet is the future. And the future is very much determined by what you do today. And I'm going to introduce that to you by showing you a video clip of a hare and a tortoise. And it's a video that IKEA use to promote their store. It's their advert. But let's just watch that first, and then I want to talk to you afterwards about what you saw and what it meant and how today influences tomorrow.
Breaknecks people drown 10 pints. We lean all day and some say that ain't productive. Could that depend upon the demon that you're stuck with? Cause right now I see clearer than most. I sit here contented with this cheese on toast. I then it shows that bro's done. Seen a few sights. Life row scenario, reality bite. From 15 years young, straight to my greyback self, I stay top shelf material. I do my zing way, ain't nothing else I know. Gone up in the life with this ragged bone flow.
Following some 57,000 runners every step of the way.
Witness the fitness, the competent living. One hope, one quest. Witness the fitness, the competent living. One hope, one quest. Witness the fitness, the competent living. One hope, one quest. Witness the fitness, the competent living. One hope, one quest.
Tomorrow starts tonight. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Okay, so the hare and the tortoise. So what did we see happening there? So they both had numbers on their jumpers, so that tells us that they were going to go in for a race the next morning. They were going to run a marathon the next morning. They were going to be in a race to see who won. And what do we see the hare and the tortoise doing the day before that race? So the hare was out on the town. He was having fun with his friends. He then went home and started watching the telly, and he didn't get to bed very early because he was too busy eating takeaways and having fun and enjoying his life. And that's fine. But what did we see the tortoise doing? Well, the tortoise went to bed, had an early night, and then when the alarms went off the next morning, the hare, nowhere to be seen. The hare was too tired. The hare had spent yesterday having fun, but that impacted on the day of the race because the hare couldn't get out of bed. The hare was still in bed. But the tortoise, because he'd had an early night, got up, went outside and headed to the start line for the race in plenty of time. So what happened yesterday for the hare and the tortoise impacted on their today, impacted on their ability to get up, to get ready, to go to the race and be prepared. So their yesterday impacted on today. And that's how I want us to think about our assembly today and our theme. What you do today is very much dependent upon what happened yesterday and will very much impact on the future. Now, the hare and the tortoise is actually a very famous story. It's one of Aesop's fables, and it's not quite set in the same context as the video I've just shown you. It's much more traditional than that. So I'm actually going to read the traditional Aesop's fable to you, but I want you to still apply the same learning to what we're going to hear in the hare and the tortoise story. The same learning, basically what you do now, what you choose to do with your life right now, is very much impacted by what your beliefs are that have been given to you from the past, but will most definitely have an impact on your future. What you're doing today, how you're living your life today, how the hare and the tortoise lived their life that day, impacts on their future. The hare and the tortoise, in the story I'm going to read, have a race, but I'm sure you can guess who's going to win that race, because what the hare does and what the tortoise do are two very different ways of approaching that race, and who wins in the end. So let's listen to the Aesop's fable of the hare and the tortoise. The tortoise and the hare. There was once a hare who bragged about how fast he could run. Tired of hearing him boast, the tortoise challenged the hare to a race. All the animals in the forest gathered to watch the race. The hare set off and ran down the road, but within seconds paused for a rest. How do you expect to win this race when you are walking along at your slow, slow pace? He cried out to the tortoise. The hare, thinking there was plenty of time to relax, stretched himself out below a tree and fell asleep. The tortoise walked and walked. He didn't stop until he got to the finish line. The animals cheered loudly for the tortoise and woke up the hare. The hare got up after having a stretch and a yawn and setting off running again, but it was too late. The tortoise was already at the finish line. So after that, the hare always reminded himself, don't brag about your lightning pace, for slow and steady won the race. So those stories that we've watched on video or we've heard about, the story of the hare and the tortoise, what does it tell us? And how does it link to our theme? So it tells us, just like it says in the video, tomorrow actually starts today. If you're wanting to have a more successful tomorrow, and we want to have a more hopeful tomorrow, then actually to make that happen, it starts today. The choices that we make today will impact on just how successful our tomorrow will be. In a week's time, we're going to be back in school, and we can't wait for that. We can't wait for March the 8th, where we're all back together and we're all in school again and we're all sharing and learning alongside each other, and that's fantastic. But to make that successful, let's start thinking about that today. Don't leave it till the last minute to find your uniform, and so you don't know where it is, so that next Sunday you're scrabbling around and can't find it. Don't leave it till next Sunday if you know you've not really been learning those spellings as well as you could have done. Spend today learning them, and do a bit more tomorrow and a bit more the day after, so that by next Monday you'll be there with everybody else knowing all those spellings. Don't put off learning your multiplication tables until we're back at school, or we can learn when we're back at school. Time will be fine, we'll catch up. Do it today. Why waste today thinking about the future? Use today to make your future better, so that actually tomorrow will be really, really successful because of the effort that you put in today. We're going to finish today with a song called 1,000 Steps. 1,000 steps starts with 1. If you want to make a journey of 1,000 steps, you can't make a journey of 1,000 steps without taking the first step. It's a cartoony video song, but just listen to the words and watch the bird as the bird makes the attempts to climb that mountain and reach the top of the mountain. And remember, as we go into this week, this final week of remote learning, the final week of home learning, fingers crossed, the final week for a very, very, very long time. We're all back in school soon, but let's make this week count. Don't write it off. Don't put it to one side as a week we've just got to get through before we get to March the 8th. Use it. Use it wisely. Make today count, because tomorrow will be better if you spend today wisely. Don't put things off. Don't procrastinate. Don't say it will happen tomorrow. Tomorrow starts today. Use today well. Have a fantastic day. Lots and lots of learning, lots of things to do, lots of things to exercise your brain, lots of things to exercise your body. Make the most of the good weather by making sure you get some exercise, but don't put things off. Remember, tomorrow starts today. Off you go. Have a fantastic day. Listen to the song carefully. Play it over again if you like. Rewind the video. And always remember to, of course, learn, sparkle and shine. See you all next week and see you in school.
1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. Gotta learn to walk before you run.
Get off your seat, get off your chair, climb that mountain or you won't get there.
1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. Gotta learn to walk before you run.
Don't say no, just say yes. Keep on going and do your best.
1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. Gotta learn to walk before you run.
1 foot, 2 foot, 3 feet, 4. Do a little, then do some more.
1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. Gotta learn to walk before you run.
If you got a dream, you gotta try to get there somehow by and by.
1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. Gotta learn to walk before you run.
You might have to sweat, you might have to puff. Giving just a little's not enough.
1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. Gotta learn to walk before you run.
The mountain top's not far away if you start now to walk that way.
1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. Gotta learn to walk before you run. 1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. 1,000 steps starts with one. Gotta learn to walk before you run. Learn to walk before you run. Learn to walk